And joining us now is Pierre Rehov. He's a French-Israeli documentary filmmaker to offer us some analysis on the war. Pierre, it's now, of course, been 5 days of the joint operation of Roaring Lion and Epic Fury. What's your perspective of the war from your vantage point in Israel?
Well, first of all, very happy to be talking to you today. I almost didn't because we had an alert only 10 minutes ago and we had to rush to the shelter of the house. And if I'd stayed in the shelter, it would have been a miss of this important appointment I had with you. So to answer your question, I've been living in Israel for 14 years now. Sorry. And it's been like the fifth war I've been witnessing. This one, it's kind of weird because compared to what we've been going through last year in June, it's a little bit milder, believe it or not. I mean, first of all, the Iranians don't have as many missiles that they had in the past. And also the fact that the US are participating at a very high level to the strikes reduces dramatically the power of the Iranian regime to target our civilians and actually to target other civilians around the Middle East, including Arab countries, as you know. So it's been kind of a little bit challenging, but at the same time, the whole country is very excited about what's going on because after so many years of being under Iranian threat, it looks like there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it really is incredible. Your whole country is going through this together, and you describe having, on a moment's notice, go down to your bomb shelter and being optimistic, something that, here in the U.S., it's really hard to relate to. And I know that as a boy, your family fled Algeria under the threat of not, slogans anti-Semitism, but deadly anti-Semitism. And you've dedicated your life's work to making films to expose the frequent propaganda wars that are waged against Jews. Right now in the American media, some are highly critical of the U.S. decision to go after Iran's nuclear and ballistic missiles program. So how do you view that, being that you look so closely at the media and how it's used sort of in these info wars?
First of all, I believe that a lot of the media have been corrupted by Iran and by Muslim Brotherhood. So it's not a spontaneous movement against the Jews and against Israel. It's finance. You have people over there who are corrupted, who have received a lot of money. You have a lot of organizations within America right now that are spreading fake news. And thanks to the social networks, those fake news have a lot of power that they didn't have in the past. I don't believe that Americans as a society, and I've been living there for quite some time. I was living in Los Angeles in the 80s. I was living in New York between 2008 2012. And I didn't feel when I was living there the same level of anti-Semitism that I felt when I was a kid in Algeria, thanks to the Arabs. And in France, during my whole life, except for when I was in America and Israel, again, thanks to the Arabs. So there is a systemic anti-Semitism, with it Islam, with it Muslims in general, related to their own history, the whole building of their religion, which happened against the Jews to start with, and until they actually, like some countries are doing today, Morocco became an ally of Israel. You have the Abraham Accords, including Morocco and Emirates and Bahrain and other countries. And those countries moving ahead and towards modernity kind of go away from the traditional rhetoric of anti-Semitism, anti-Western. It's always connected, You had the Jews, you had the West. In the West, you had the Jews, you had capitalists when you are communist, and you had the Jews because they are communists when you are capitalist. So there's always this little people, we are only 15 million people around the world, that are the easy target because, we are very exposed all the time. So that's my overall feeling is that for all the Jews at this very moment, Israel is the place to be safe, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's so interesting what you bring up, that there are only 15 million Jews, of course, surrounded by over 1 billion Muslim Arabs. And you rightfully point out that there is this turning point potentially starting with the Abraham Accords and now to the Board of Peace, where you really have the Arab and Muslim world sort of coming together on the side of Israel and now supporting in one level or another this resistance to Iran. Did you ever think that you would see that in your lifetime? Arab versus Arab? Or, you know, Muslim versus Muslim as opposed to against Jews?
Yes. Actually, yes. I saw that in 2016, where President Trump was elected for the first time, and I knew he was going to do the right thing about it because I've been following his career for quite a long time. And I know also he was elected in 2020, but that's another subject. And when he was re-elected for the second time officially last year, 2024, I knew that something big was going to happen because the situation couldn't continue like that. Europeans try to manage a conflict in the usual way, which is very cowardice. I mean, those people don't have a backbone. And I'm talking about the European leaders in general. And I have to say, you know, in America, when you had Joe Biden and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, actually Clinton was a little bit better than the other two, nothing was going to move again in the right direction because there's always this, you know, lack of will of actually solving the conflict. It's better to manage a conflict than to solve it. Now you have in America, thankfully, a president who has the capacity, the strength, the courage to really apply what has had to be done for a long time, not only to protect Israel, not only to save the Jews, but to save the entire Western world for something which is purely evil, whether it's a connection between the Communist Party in China, Russian Putin, or Iran, or all the things that the real axis of evil are really now being attacked with the purpose of being defeated. So yes, I knew it was going to happen, and now the hope is at a level like I never had in my life before.
Well, so interesting to see the dancing on the streets in between trips to the bomb shelters. What a moment in history. Pierre Rehov, thank you for breaking it down for us.
My pleasure.